welcome back to Moving Forward, where we discuss community affairs and meet local people with intriguing stories. I'm your host, Ellen Copy, and before the break, we learned a little about the Idiosyncrasy exhibit. With us now is Joe Augustine, who is the artist in residence at the University of Akron School of Music, to talk about some of his experiences as a jazz musician. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, Ellen. How are you today?
Very good.
Great.
Can you start by saying what an artist in residence is? What they do?
Sure. It's a faculty position, and there isn't any difference other than the fact that any difference in regard to faculty people. I have a certain expertise for many, many years of doing multiple CDs and multiple performances all over the world. And that kind of knowledge you really don't find in a lot of textbooks. So in essence, that's what I want to share with the students here at the University of Akron School of Music.
So all of this experience has led you to this position. How did you first get started in music?
Do you really want to hear that story?
Yes.
Oh, how much time do you have?
Well.
Okay, it was due to a football injury, believe it or not.
Huh.
Yeah, I went through this awful injury. And
oh no.
Yeah, I love football, I love my high school and so on, but couldn't do it anymore. So I was walking by my band room in high school and I heard this really cool piano coming from there, and I knew that it wasn't the band director. So I went in and sat down in the well of the piano, and I couldn't see the man's hands. I was just intrigued by the sound of everything. It was awesome. So I watched him for about an hour, and he'd play and then he'd write and then he'd play and then he'd write. I asked him what he was doing. He says he was writing an arrangement for a big band, and I thought it was a bunch of guys that were very big. I didn't know what that meant, but it meant a 17-piece jazz band. Mm-hmm. So he got up and I said, do you mind if I try this? He said, sure, go ahead. So I sat down and played what he had just played, and he said to me, so you play? And I said, no, not really. I just heard what you did, and
wow.
So that's how it started.
Mm-hmm.
And I immediately began lessons in about a month after that. It was tough talking my parents into, at almost 16 years old, buying a piano because whatever. And we did it.
Was that also your inspiration to go into jazz music as opposed to any other music?
Regardless of what we do in this life, we all have different predispositions. I love what that music sounds like to me. It speaks to me. It always has, and it always will. It keeps me feeling alive every day.
And 51 CDs later, what has kept this drive going for you?
You kids. That's the best part.
Each individual song then that you write, how do you keep finding inspiration to keep coming up with all of these songs?
Well, that's a grand question. Each part starts in a different way, Ellen. Maybe I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking about a particular introduction, and it speaks to me in such a way that I'm thinking, man, this is a preface to something much more grand, and I need to find this. So I take the time, review it, play it, and all of a sudden, maybe sometimes a week later, maybe an hour later, all of a sudden the particular composition begins to take shape. That's how it starts.
And then some of your songs are actually related to the University of Akron. Can you tell us some of those stories?
Sure. This CD is called Remembering You. It's the newest CD. I wrote this material for this particular CD and relinquished all the rights of the material to the university. And in the case of, we're not going to get into a mechanical licensing lesson here, but I wanted all the proceeds, in plain English, to go to our Steinway campaign, and would like to purchase all new Steinways for the School of Music. We need them desperately.
Can you tell us what the Steinway campaign is?
The Steinway campaign is, we're in the process of buying over 60 pianos. So we've purchased a good many so far for all of the practice rooms, all of some of the professors' offices, okay, where they teach. And if you are a piano student and you come to my office, I want to teach you how this music is supposed to sound. Then you go to practice it and you play it on a shoddy piano. You can't really understand what we just spent 2 hours discussing. So we need to get to that.
So you're putting all those proceeds there. And this latest CD is called Remembering You.
Correct.
So who are we remembering?
Oh, there's a whole group of people that are wonderful. Zippy is first one that comes to mind. No one's ever wrote anything about our awesome mascot, so I felt that it was important to do that.
Yes.
So we wrote this fun song called Zip It.
Well, actually, reporter Tyler Stackpole from the Moving Forward team had the chance to visit Joe's new CD release event at the EJ Stage door. Let's take a look.
Big fan, big fan. He stomps his feet and he's so dramatic, and there probably is nothing out of that era of jazz that he loves that he can't play at a moment's notice.
Well, I really would rank him right at the top.
You've been very quiet throughout this whole thing. I don't know why you are, at least. I'm not going to say anything profound, I promise.
It was so great, and I've tried to get to, many of his performances.
But I knew by using these glorious gentlemen up here. Glorious, you like that word, Rock? I love that word.
I hate to use a cliche, but it's not Akron's best kept secret.
We brought the whole surviving spouse group from St. Hilary's when they had the big band thing and the dance floor. They all came and loved it. Didn't know this existed, and I said, Akron U is full of wonderful surprises.
Hello, I'm Ellen Copy, and we've been speaking with Joe Augustine, and we just watched a brief story on his CD release event. As we saw in the package, the people were talking about the era of jazz. But what do you want all generations and eras to learn from your music?
The fact that it can communicate, that's what I want the most. Okay? Yes, the music is mine. Yes, I wrote everything, took the time to arrange everything, had great rapport with my guys in the studio when we recorded it. And in all honesty, I'm very pleased with the outcome because something magical happened. And some of this music I have recorded in the past. There's about 3 or 4 of the tunes that I've done before, and I decided to re-record. And there was a sheen put on this music that can't be described. It was wonderful. It really was.
And there's all kinds of different genres of
Yes.
music. What about people who just aren't interested in jazz? Do you still want to reach to them?
Absolutely. The idea of this CD, Ellen, is that regardless of the walk of life of any individual, something has to move them, trip their trigger musically. Some people just don't like music, but they'll go along with the program if there's something that grabs them. And you can't force that on a person. But if they see, especially in person, they see the enthusiasm on the artist's face, they want to be involved. It's like, this guy's having so much fun, I'm going to go on with him. You know what I mean?
And actually in the story, some of those people are big fans of yours that follow all of your events. So how would you think that you reach that?
Honest to God, a lot of the things that, like you asked me before about what I think about in regard to how to write the piece and so on. Well, the greatest part of music to me is its mystery. I don't know why they enjoy it so much. They just seem to. And I'm elated. I love this community. I really do.
All of the
and
people,
this university.
Yes.
Excuse me.
No, yes, all of the people enjoying this music, but you are also working toward the Steinway campaign, as we've mentioned a little bit earlier. Is there anything you want to add to that?
There's a couple things that as a musician, and as a Steinway artist. One of the proudest moments of my life was being sanctioned that in 1993. And it's a really highly prestigious group of individuals, maybe 1,390 worldwide, and about 85% of them don't even live in this country. They're classical artists. And the other 15% are people like Billy Joel and Ahmad Jamal and Harry Connick and Diana Krall. Me, I'm proud of that, very. But I think what I feel the greatest about is being here and showing that pride has nothing to do with ego. I'm not on this campus for my gain. I'm on this campus for the students. That's what keeps me alive. That's what keeps me on fire. And that's what fuels me.
Being on campus and having your music, is there any memories or events that stick out to you?
This past 2 months ago, we did a football game. I believe it was September 24th. And I wrote this tune for Zippy that's on this CD. It's called Zip It. I went to Galen Carricker, the assistant director of bands, and his cohort, Bob Jorgensen, and I said, we need to figure out a way to play Zip It with a whole group of different marching bands. Let's figure out a way to put a large grand piano on the football field, play this with all these kids. So we did. So Galen wrote a rock and roll piano show. It was a riot. There were 700 kids on our football field from all different high schools, plus our amazing band right in the center of it, with the piano right in the front of that. So Dr. Proenza, he was right there on stage with me while we were doing it with Zippy. We had a ball. We really did.
Well, we're actually going to get to hear a little bit of that song a little bit later in the show, but
okay.
As a closing, where do you want to see your music go in the future?
What a great question. I want to see the music work itself into people's lives so that they can feel the passion and the positive nature of life that I feel. That's all I really care about. Once you take the ego out of the mix, everything just seems to be for the right reason. The same reason you're sitting here asking me poignant questions. It's the same thing. I want to communicate it, as I said earlier, just like you want to communicate to your audience. That's all I want.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Today on Moving Forward, we learned from Marcus Vogel about the idiosyncrasy exhibit and what it's trying to achieve. Just now, we finished speaking with Joe Augustine about his experiences in music. To learn more about today's topics, as well as us here on the Moving Forward team, please visit our website, ztvmovingforward.com. You can also like us on Facebook, ZTV Moving Forward, to follow all of our updates and plans for each week. We thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to next time here on Moving Forward.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. To find out how you can make Emmy-winning media, visit the UA School of Communication online. ZTV. Make media. Make a difference.